starts just one page, right in front. I titled Hidden in Plain Sight, Critical Consciousness and the Copernic. Wow, that's the Copernic syndrome. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Copernic? Copernic? I'm not a sports fan, so I don't want to. Kaepernick. Okay, I don't want to fake the funk. I'm trying to be relevant. I'm trying to be hip. Kaepernick?
Yes.
All right.
Learn that name. Learn that name.
Learn that name. I'm learning that. All right. Before calling Kaepernick, almost everyone stood during the national anthem. People hardly even thought about it. And they did it automatically. No one questioned it. People took for granted that standing during the national anthem was correct. It was an expression of patriotism, and how could patriotism be bad? Standing during the national anthem seemed right. It was part of the received wisdom of our society. It was common sense. Then Colin, what's his name, took a knee during the playing of the national anthem, and everyone went berserk. What the hell is he doing? What does this mean? He's a traitor. He's Satan. Slowly, however, the conversation began to shift. Many people continued to demonize Kaepernick, but some folks started asking questions. What if he's onto something? Why the hell do we stand during the national anthem? What does the national anthem actually say? What does it mean? Who wrote the national anthem? What ideologies are embedded within it? Is the national anthem racist? Now all of a sudden the entire society, or at least all my Facebook friends, are talking about the national anthem. People are doing research. They're historicizing the national anthem, placing it in historical context. What is the relationship of the national anthem to slavery? What is its relationship to white supremacy? So not everyone is asking these questions, of course, but lots of folks are. And most of those folks had never had an occasion to question the national anthem or to reflect on what position one should assume while it was being played. Well, you know what? Now that they're thinking critically about the national anthem, the genie is out of the bottle. Some will find themselves asking other critical questions. If white supremacy is embedded in the mundane rituals of American nationalism, how else does it pervade my life? What other myths have I imbibed? How else am I unwittingly perpetuating racism and militarism? A similar process, I think, may occur as people of conscience begin to examine Israel's policies. In the West, the idea of Israel as an oasis of democracy is virtually an article of faith. It's the received wisdom, the common sense. Very few of us even consider questioning it. Americans may know next to nothing about Israel or the Middle East, but they know Israel is our ally. And they understand instinctively that supporting Israel is necessary and just. No act of violence or ethnic cleansing on Israel's part can fundamentally change this outlook, reinforced as it is by the media and by the major institutions of our society. Yet at some point, the Copernic syndrome may take effect. Something may happen to expose the contradictions of viewing Zionism and Israel as democratic projects. Though it is very unlikely, I believe, that this catalytic event will be some or another damning revelation about Israel's practices. After all, such revelations are almost always suppressed or discredited by the corporate media. Rather, the catalytic event, the disrupting event, will be more personally and existentially jarring. For example, a supporter of Black Lives Matter might learn that during the uprising in Ferguson, Missouri last year, some Palestinians in the occupied territories tweeted advice to black demonstrators on how to handle tear gas attacks. Now let's say this Black Lives Matter supporter has never really thought about Israel or Palestine. All of a sudden, she's experiencing a crisis. Why are Palestinians expressing solidarity with black protesters in the U.S.? What similarities between the two struggles do they see? Do some black protesters also see similarities? Why do many Palestinians know how to handle a tear gas attack anyhow? Who is gassing them, and why? What other forms of everyday oppression do Palestinians face? And what role does the United States play in enabling and perpetuating that oppression? All of a sudden, you've got another American thinking critically about Israel. Now she is historicizing the Middle East conflict. She's trying to understand power relations in the region. Who is the oppressor? Who is the oppressed? Who is the colonizer? Who is the colonized? What are the connections between settler colonialism in Israel, in South Africa, in the United States? How do those historical relationships shape the mechanisms of imperialism, militarism, and global capitalism today? This is what radical Brazilian educator Paulo Freire called conscientization, the process of developing critical awareness of social reality. But social consciousness is really triggered by polite panel discussions. Rather, it is awakened by struggle. In this case, black struggle and Palestinian struggle, and the natural camaraderie that arises between those struggles as their participants begin to recognize common experiences and common forms of oppression. So how do we conscientize the American public? How do we penetrate the matrix of lies and biases upon which so much American support for Israel rests? Well, we do so through struggle, of course. We agitate. White supremacy is never recognized as white supremacy until it is confronted in the streets. White supremacy is never recognized as white supremacy until it is confronted in the streets. And